excuse me, after the Gulf Coast hurricanes, did FEMA undertake a critical review of its coordination with the SBA in responding to natural disasters? And if so, what lessons did it learn, and have those been implemented?
I'm not familiar in detail with the how they coordinated. I do know, because I researched it in preparation from the previous hearing in April, that we were not prepared post-Katrina for what happened. So I can tell you that we had no people on the ground. We had no awareness of a small local business. We had no contracts people. We had no market analysis of what the industry could do locally. And so those are the major lessons learned across the board. There really was, from what I understand, very little interfacing down in that area with the Small Business Administration. So what we've done since then is, beef up. We have about 60 people. We have contracting officers on site. We work very closely with SBA. We do a tremendous amount of outreach. And while in the immediate response to Katrina, we awarded major contracts to big business, close to 70-some-odd% of the work was actually done by small businesses. So in the course of doing that, we built up a pretty good knowledge on the ground of what the capabilities were of small local business. So, and we've used that. We keep databases, we have outreach, we do forums jointly with SBA. We have what I consider to be, I've actually met with the people that are working it on the ground, and I think we've done a pretty good job to make sure we are much better positioned to handle that type of problem today.
And if such a review was performed and is in writing somewhere, could you make sure that the committee acquires a copy of it, assuming that it's
yes, sir,
within security requirements?
No, sure. I'll go back and look for that.
Thank you very much. Ms. Stone, let me turn to you if I can now. Is one of the issues associated with contracting with small businesses in these areas, such as we're discussing here, areas where there was a disaster, the fact that the area is still recovering and the number of small businesses operating in the area remains well below the pre-hurricane totals?
Yes, this is very much a problem, and on Friday when I was actually in New Orleans talking with our contracting officers, one of the commitments that we made together is that every month we will be hosting from now on training sessions in New Orleans that we're going to work around the small business person's schedule, because a lot of them, they're the owner of the business and they're working in the business, so they'll be very early in the morning, during lunch, or in the evening, and we're going to be trying to get them on the GSA schedule, making them aware of procurements, because what we have found is that every month more businesses are returning to the region, and therefore it's important for us to constantly be refreshing that information. What we've been doing in the past, we need to have a regularly scheduled meeting where new businesses, when they return to the region, know that they can come to us and get that help and guidance to get more federal contracts.
Okay, thank you. General, are there some functions performed by the Corps of Engineers that small businesses, for one reason or another, are unable to perform or incapable of performing, and do any of those functions relate to disaster response?
Well, generally, there's always contracts that some small businesses can't do, but in a disaster, we're finding most of those contracts are in the area of water, ice, debris removal, temporary roofing, and those things, that they are capable. Now, we have found that in some instances, the affected area, the contractors and some of their workforce is affected initially. So one of the things we're looking at is, how do you get them under these long-term contracts that are standing, so they're geared up for it and they're ready to respond. And then secondly, how can we get them re-engaged for those that, because we're going to go to them and say, say a temporary roof contract, can you do this, and do you have the capacity? And right during the disaster, or right after the disaster, we're going to have to contact each one of those firms. But we do know who they are, and we have them under a standing contract. So that's our commitment to use them, and then we'll work with each one.
Let me just follow up on that if I can. From your written testimony, it appeared that small businesses were to a considerable degree limited to debris removal. And are small businesses capable of providing other services to the Corps in response to the aftermath of the Gulf Coast hurricanes? And if so, are you going to pursue that area and try to do a better job in the future?
Yes, sir. I think there's kind of two areas we separate this. One is the response to the disaster immediately, and then there's the rebuild and restoration. Right now, most of that $5.8 billion I spoke of, and that's in my testimony, is for the rehabilitation and restoration of the hurricane protection system. And we are using, to the maximum extent, small businesses in those local areas. I would report on one area. Most of our response efforts are under FEMA. And there was one area, and this is in the area of demolition, that we had a number of contracts prepared for demolition, but it's been slow in identifying those areas in the parishes for demolition. And so FEMA has gone back and taken those dollars back, and they will go to individual parishes to do that demolition, with the idea that the small businesses from those parishes would help with that response. So that's one area we've decreased a little bit because the work wasn't there yet.